Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a debrief here for Susan Bullock for her instructor beginner evaluation. Just want to make sure that I'm actually going to be in the photo here. Okay, so let's start off with how do you think it went?
Okay. Some parts went better than other.
Okay.
Like I said, the tennis ball thing I hadn't used before. Should have practiced with the equipment before I used it. I think I kept them busy enough, and the pacing seemed to be okay. But probably I need to work on giving more feedback.
Okay. What would you do? What would you do better? And how would you change it?
Well, like some of the activities are appropriate for the brown belts because it was a green brown belt class. I think the activities were okay, but I think maybe I need to do more brown and up, do this, under brown, do that.
Okay, so maybe break it apart a little bit more for the different. Yeah.
Because like Cody, like the two that are like the provincial level athletes didn't have a hard enough workout, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always a problem. Yeah, I mean, giving people what they want, right, isn't always easy. Yeah, you got different levels. So, did you consider other ways to do it?
Yeah, about 20 different times, 20 different ways, what ones to focus on.
Yeah.
I modified my plan, I think, like 5 times because I practice a little bit on other human subjects and go, oh, that was too long of a, like originally the touch drill I had is like twice as long, and I'm like, oh yeah, that would kill them, so then I cut back. So I did test out sections and change things here and there. Yeah,
so it's sort of a living document where you start off thinking something's going to be working good and then it doesn't. Yeah.
Are the groups better at something than you anticipate?
Yeah. Because you don't know who's going to show if you don't have a staged class, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fairly typical. I mean, you can have a lesson plan, and then all of a sudden, only the white belts show up, and things change. So, okay, so did you see any safety situations in the middle of it there?
There was 2 boys that liked to kick each other a little too hard, so I interrupted about 5 times. But I guess I could have changed them up with different partners. Okay. But I mean, they're 14.
Yeah, they're friends too.
Yeah.
And they're probably used to kicking each other. Yeah. At school and everything, right? Yeah, that's the one that I noticed as well. I was going to ask you why did you let people choose their own pace in the exercises?
Because I was watching people like Cody, and when I was trying to do it at my pace, you could see that he was bored, and him and Casey just, they could do it double time.
Right.
And maybe I should have suggested provincial athletes do it double time. But I was trying to make it so like Cody was actually doing probably 15 to 20, and what everyone was doing was 10. So I was trying to give them a chance to pace themselves that way.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What else do you think that you might have done differently when you saw those guys there, like you said, to change partners?
Yeah, I could have had them change partners. The other thing is the 2 more senior students, or 2 of them, there's an uneven number, and I could have partnered with one, but I know that I happen to know that 2 of them don't like working super hard, so I kind of just let it go. But maybe I should have split them up differently, or instead of having 2 people do one, but they happen to be the people that are black belts that have the best control, really. I could have done that, broken them up, or I had them hold it on that. I can't think of what it's called with the rope right now.
The rope, the Macarora?
So they could have, so if they didn't have a partner, instead of doing 3 people.
Yeah, okay. All right, I thought you did pretty good. I thought it went pretty good. There's a bunch of things that when I went through your lesson plan that I made notes on, and maybe we'll go through them right now. The one thing that I did notice, and I did this intervention frequency, and I only did the main part. You were really good on the prescriptive and descriptive part, and really good on the demonstration, and really good on the body language. But I would have liked to see, you didn't really assess their performance at all. You didn't really say, you're not doing this properly, or you're not, you said you should do this differently, but you didn't specifically come out and say anything. And you also didn't intervene with them. Like, you didn't go over and say, okay, you know, your foot should be, you know, walk right up to that person and say to that person. You were general about it, which is fine.
Okay.
But I thought you should have been more specific to when you spot something that you can make an intervention on. I think that you should go over and say, you know, your foot's in the wrong position. You know, here, make sure that you do that. Then you can use your demonstration. You did that very well. I like the way you got your model up there, whether Casey or Trudy, to do the demo, which is good. You don't, as a coach, I don't think you have to do everything perfectly, but you got to know how to show people to do it perfectly. And so those are the two things: the evaluation, assessing the quality of the performance. It says here, that's great, good job, not enough. You know, you only did that once that I picked up.
To an individual or as a group?
To an individual,
Okay.
yeah. As a group, you generally said, okay, I want you to do this. You're doing this, which is the descriptive part, and I want you to do this, which is the prescriptive part. But to analyze it and say, okay, that's not good enough. I would like you to do it differently. I want you to do it like so.
Yeah.
And then the modification. And the other thing that I saw is that you never asked them if they understood. So when you're, you know, I do this all the time. I'll say something, and then I'll assume that everybody understands what I'm trying to say. And so you got to be careful. Nobody will ever say they don't understand,
Yep.
because they'll think that they're, you know, falling behind. So I think you should ask them.
Okay.
You know, ask them, you know what you're doing? Do you know what we're gonna do? You know, yeah. And then it says here also on this is a probe question. You know, you could have asked maybe Casey or Cody, the provincial level athletes, and said, you know, what would you do differently on this technique? What would you do differently? What do you think would make it easier to do? You know, that kind of stuff. And they could have maybe added a context to it that you hadn't thought of either. So, and that's part of using your demonstration, right?
So would you also mean, how you always say, like, this is a good self-defense, someone goes to grab your ponytails, you kick me behind? 'Cause
Yeah.
I know, like, I did notice a couple things, like their foot was turning
Yeah.
rather than doing a true back kick.
Yeah.
But I kind of couldn't figure out, I'm trying to maintain the count, how to
Yeah.
get other people keep going and give
Yeah.
them, I got to figure out how to get them still going and talk to him.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to stop and just make that change.
Yeah.
Because everybody's probably doing it a little bit, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were trying to keep the class flowing. I think it flowed really well, actually. I thought it was good. So in your lesson plan here, I was just going through a bit of it, and maybe you should mention emergency exits and stuff like that. I mean, we have a fire exit and stuff like that here. This was sort of before we were filming, where you did your inspection and stuff like that, and you've got a really good emergency action plan and everything up.
Okay.
It just might be something. And then your theme, you brushed over it pretty quick with what you were planning to do. So.
Okay.
And then you went right into your warm up, which was good. You already mentioned safety and modifying for different levels, which was good. Being able to see them, you know, like you walked around really well, I thought, because if you stay in one spot, I do that too often. Sometimes I'm in the one front, and you know, you have different personalities of people that like to hide in the back, and it's nice to kind of wander around and see what they're doing and help them as well. So I think you did that. You went around, you made a nice circle, and you went through everything. The one thing, you substituted a sidekick for a hook kick there and I don't see sidekick mentioned, so just make sure that maybe
Same
I
but
missed
sidekick.
it. Ah, okay.
So I
There.
ended up dropping, because I was going to
The
say,
hook
like, I was thinking people like Cody and Casey should do like a roundhouse and a hook and heel, then I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it might be, if in real life I was teaching a green brown belt class, I think I would do that,
Yeah.
because this is a mixed yellow.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a stacked class because, you know, instructor beginner is for green belt and down kind of, and you've got black belts and provincial athletes here, so you're lucky with that. Your count, and I know you're trying to maintain it, but you go.
I need a metronome.
You know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah, I know what
You
you're
go
saying.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8 and 9. Okay, 10.
I think I pulled off good timing for the warm up when I was doing the doggy lifts, but when other people are doing kicks, yeah, I can't look and count. I don't know.
Yeah, it takes a while. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention it to you
Okay, yeah,
because
all right.
you don't even have to do the exercise if you just maintain the count. And you did the view. Again, be a little more specific to key performance indicators about, turning your foot or the heel and extending your leg, those kind of things. Too often you said just do a good kick or do it properly, and doing it properly means something different to everybody. So I think you got to be more specific in how you're telling them to do it. The old NCCP used to be whole, part, whole. You show the whole thing, then you show a part, then you do the whole thing, and that works pretty good. You can break it down into little chunks. Again, you had a good audience, so it was a little easier.
I have one question about why someone, when they do the back kick,
Yeah.
and their foot's not like this, and it's like that.
Yeah.
Is that because they're trying to aim too high? That's what I thought it was.
Usually they're turning their hip, right?
And is that because they're aiming high?
If you're facing straight forward and you just bend forward and kick, you can't put your leg out. But people turn around this way and do a back kick.
Turning too much. Okay, I was just trying to figure out what it was. I thought he was probably aiming too high, but I wasn't.
With the little kids, what I do when they do a back kick is I hold their hands like this, and then they can't turn.
Oh,
so
okay.
that they have to kick with this shoulder forward instead of turning their whole body. So I'm glad you picked that up, but you maybe should mention that when you see it.
Okay.
You did really good with the hydration, way better than I do. I have a bad habit of not doing enough hydration breaks and stuff. And your tennis ball thing worked pretty good. Except Cody kept hitting it, but you can't control that. So that was good. Your cool down, I thought, was the most descriptive, prescriptive, and technically sound.
Okay.
When you did your stretches and you did all that, you were bang on. You had all the
Coaching
muscle
swimming
groups.
comes in handy.
Right. So if you use that same sort of precision in the technique part, it's going to be awesome because you're just not thinking enough about how you want. You're just saying a kick. Well, it's not just a kick. It's a rotation. It's an extension, deflection. So, and I thought that with the cool down that you should have probably done something with regards to getting the heart rate down.
Okay. The last two drills weren't slow enough? They were slow.
Yeah, I guess they were. Yeah, okay.
Okay. No, I wasn't trying to argue.
Yes, no, you're right. You could have used that in the warm up or in the cool down part.
Okay,
That's
just moving line.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're right. It's just you got to try and get the heart rate down, safety-wise, you've got people here that are in their 50s, so you could have blood pooling and stuff if they go from a real high exertion to stop, right? And I really liked your stretching and cool down. I thought that was really good. The feedback I thought was good too. Again, it'll come over time. And I mean, you haven't done any karate classes. You've done, I can tell, you've done exercise stuff. I can tell that you've done all of the organizational stuff, because that stuff really looks nice. But the actual main part, that's the part I think with these key things, the evaluation of a technique, the probing question, and the modification. So if you go back to your course, you've got your intention phase and detection phase and correction phase. So, you know, you're pretty good on the intention phase. You know what you want them to do. The detection phase, I think, and the correction phase, you gotta maybe be a little bit more specific on it. I think you know what you want to say, but you gotta find a way to describe it and to get it through to the other person so that they're improving. Because it's more than just an exercise class. And the other thing that I thought, a couple of things, you never did anything full speed and power or full energy level. Everything was done, but there wasn't a time where you said, okay, now everybody, like,
Okay.
so like
I was thinking about when we're doing the go around, I'm like, well, they're kind of cooling down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I see what you mean.
But
yeah.
in the kicking drills across the floor, they could have done the targeting, and then the next time they could have, okay, now 100% with a good ki and everything, and then you know, sort of a motivational reason for doing something like that. You know, okay, you're trying to score a face kick on this person, so you have to explode and you know, push off your back leg and those kind of specific things. And then you could have put a rule application in there too, where, you know, some people are just kicking the hands, whereas if they do it too hard, they're going to get a penalty. So you could put, when you do your motivational stuff, you could put a rule application in there as well. And if I was to make one suggestion about the class, it's the energy level and maybe the level of your voice is too soft.
Oh, okay.
I would have, not all the time, but every once in a while, hey, now I want to see you guys, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
I was trying to non-boot camp it, so I was trying
I know.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, these are just
Yeah, no,
critiques
I
that
definitely you're in chatter a lot more.
well, my style.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm right. It just means that I do it a little differently. But just an observation, because people like to have somebody, you know, get them pumped up. And just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doesn't always cut it, right?
Yeah.
So.
In class after class.
Well, I think that we never make the same class twice, so we don't have that problem like an aerobics class or a step class. We've got a lot of material.
And you got tons of gear too.
Yeah. I thought you used the gear really well with the pads and everything, and yeah. So overall, I thought it was quite good. I've got to do all of the paperwork here and then forward the video as well as my paperwork to our master learning facilitator, and then they'll give you your feedback and let you know how we're going to proceed.
Okay, so how long do you think to find out if I pass?
Oh, I don't know. Till
Months?
they get back to you.
Okay.
As soon as we can.